I'm your host, Alex Newman. Our guest today, Sheri, president and founder of United States Parents Involved in Education. You can find him at USPIE.org. Also, Terry Newsome, president of the Illinois chapter of USPIE. He is a father fighting for parental rights in his own school district. I actually serve on the advisory board of USPIE. It's a wonderful, wonderful organization dedicated to getting the feds out of classrooms, out of education. And Sheri was trying to show this wonderful movie. If you want a copy, you can actually order it from my shop. Go to libertysentinel.org/shop, or just click on the shop button. You can get a copy. The wonderful film, Truth and Lies in American Education. It's absolutely wonderful. And Terry was trying to show this, and Pantifa showed up and got it canceled. Terry and Sheri, welcome to the program. Thank you so much for joining us. Terry, let's start with you. The Antifa managed to get your events shut down on at least 2 occasions that I've seen reported in the news. Tell us what's happening.
Yeah, actually, there's 2, and they're trying very aggressively for yours this Saturday. I don't know if you've up to date on that, but they're the Holiday Inn's going to stand firm. I will be speaking as well at 3 o'clock with your event on Saturday. But we had first the Des Plaines Theater, a beautiful historic theater a friend of mine owns, and he gladly said that we can host the event there. Unfortunately, there was city council a week before, 2 weeks before, all these radical leftists showed up, Antifa associates, moms, that are tagging us hateful, Nazis, anti-gay, racist, and subtly threatened all the politicians up there on the council. And my friend eventually buckled because there was so much threats coming into him through social media, Twitter, mainstream Chicago media, as you know. They brutally attacked him. Hate groups were, speaking there. And unfortunately, he's leasing it from Des Plaines, the village of Des Plaines. So he was under the thumbnail of the radical leftist mayor of Des Plaines. So that was the first event. We had about a week and a half. I didn't want to get canceled. So then moved to the southwest side. A well-known establishment there, hosts lots of fundraisers called Bourbon Street, and we were ready to go. And he started getting cold feet a few days before because they were attacking, his venue, social media, Twitter, calling, emails, and they also host bands. So they were reaching out to all these bands that were planning on performing there and saying that you guys will be labeled as Nazis and racist if you perform at this venue going forward. He eventually canceled as well 6 hours before. We had people coming in from different states, and I've got another venue. I'm not going to announce it yet. It's a family that came from a different country who stands up a little firmer and knows what's going on and is willing to take the heat. So once I lock that in, I have lessons learned about getting the contract, talking to the mayor. Don't let Antifa set the narrative up of who and what we are not with their lies. So I hope that answered your questions on the last 2 venues.
Yeah, thank you, Terry. And this is despicable. I mean, this is gangsterism. It's, to me, amazing that business owners and even governments are allowing themselves to be intimidated by a bunch of thugs and a bunch of terrorists. It's absolutely outrageous. Sheri, thank you so much for joining us. You've been on this program before. We so appreciate all the work that you do. Tell us a little bit about this movie. Why are the Antifa clowns so paranoid about parents seeing what is in this film?
Well, it has a lot to do with the title of the film because they are afraid of the truth. And so the film clearly lays out what's happening in government schools and how children are being indoctrinated with our tax dollars. So anywhere from the sexualization of children, which is one of the issues that Terry has worked so hard on to expose in his community with the pornography that's in the books in the schools where he is. He's been effective in educating people about that. But our film covers that. It covers the propaganda that is masquerading as history in our schools, which is anti-American and anti-Christian. It also covers the Marxist theories, not just critical race theory, but there are multiple Marxist theories that are being pushed through the schools. And we have some really great experts in the film that explain all of this, that shed light on the facts. And once people see it, because many have been watching it, we've been promoting this film for several months, and people are excited that someone is finally speaking the truth. And many are very disturbed and angry, and that's the purpose. That's the goal of the film, is to get people awake to what's happening and activated to help us to stop the indoctrination of children in government schools with our tax dollars.
Yeah, it's a very noble mission. Terry, in Illinois, you have been actually fighting this on the front lines. The local school districts there are indoctrinating children with things that I think would be shocking, even to like normal progressives. I mean, a few years ago, even Obama supporters would have said, "What? You're teaching kids what?" Talk to us a little bit about what you have found is in the schools in Illinois.
Yeah, so when I first my twins were freshmen last year, and when I heard about this stuff, I was shocked to learn. Specifically about genderqueer. I thought that would be a layup. I thought everybody would follow me and, fight. And, parents are scared to talk. They're worried about their jobs being doxxed, harassed. And I'm like, oh, I'm not worried about it. Well, sure enough, I don't know if you know, I'm being a major target, with my job. I'm on FBI watch list, all these crazy things because I stood out. Senator or Congressman Kasten's in our district, my kid's school. And the Democrats here in Illinois, which is different than other places, are totally collaborating with Antifa. And Antifa's collaborating with them, and they're harassing not just me. I'm like one of the main parents. They're harassing other parents, spouses, and what they're doing is successfully scaring people from speaking out at board meetings, as well as from running. One of my neighbors was going to run. He said, "I'm not going to run because I saw what happened to you." I think to Sheri's point, the movie in itself is concerning to them, right? For the exposing what's going on. To our venue that we were trying to run was even more concerning. I think we became more of a target because we had multiple cultures, right? I had two African-American organizations. I had a Hindu woman from Asia TV. I had a Dr. Rentiera, award-winning author from the Hispanic community. I had Gays Against Groomers, multiple groups supporting us, and we're called racist, Nazis, hateful. What I learned in the short time I've been involved in this, and especially in Illinois, they try to define you with a fake narrative. And then if you don't fight back, people are scared. People are scared to defend us. People are scared to stand up for me. They know I'm not like that. And until we find more people like all of us here ready to fight in different ways, you don't have to be on the front line to be a mercenary like I am or whatever you want to call me. But we got to recruit parents. We got to get involved. We got to show up at school board meetings, sit in the audience if you're scared, because we're giving up on our country. We're in a war. We're in a war, and most people don't know we're in a war, and we're losing that war badly for our children.
Yep, we really are, and you're absolutely right, Terry. As long as parents cower and are worried about, oh, the media's going to call me a bad name, or Antifa might show up at my house, we're going to continue to lose the next generation of American children. Sheri, that's why you founded USPIE. We talked a little bit. I actually quoted you in a recent article that I just did about a bill that was reintroduced into Congress just recently. It's H.R. 899 that would abolish the U.S. Department of Education. We played a little clip of me talking to Congressman Thomas Massie about this. He's the chief sponsor of the bill. When I asked you for comment on this, you said something really important that I think people need to understand. It's not just the Department of Education that is weaponizing education against our families. There's a whole range of federal programs, agencies, grants, and things that are doing this. Talk a little bit about your plan. You guys have a blueprint to end the influence of the federal government in our schools, one for the federal government and then one for states. Let's start with the federal one. How do we get the feds out of our schools?
Well, I would encourage everyone to go to our website, uspie.org, and read the blueprint for themselves. We published it in 2017 and updated it in 2018, but it describes 5 simple steps, what we believe are simple steps. Of course, there will be a lot of pushback and a uphill effort to get the support to do what needs to be done. But what's great about our blueprint is that it gives you the steps. It gives Senator Massie the steps, Congressman Massie, the steps that are missing from his bill. H.R. 899 is just a one-sentence bill that says the department must end on a certain date. But we have to think beyond just talking points. And, closing the Department of Ed has been, a campaign slogan of many, many candidates, everywhere from school board to president. But who has ever done it? Or actually plan? Well, United States Parents Involved in Education has done that. And we have boiled it down to 5 simple steps that end up removing all federal education mandates, not just closing the Department of Ed. But as you mentioned, there are several federal agencies that are influencing state education that are unconstitutional, and it must end, because we have learned, and the reason we've made that our goal is over 20 years of being involved with education policy, we've recognized that all of the nefarious pedagogies are coming down from the federal government. They are incentivized with federal dollars. And what school district do you know of in our country that doesn't refuse money? And we saw that with the latest round of COVID relief funds that went to schools. And in every school district in the country took this money. And if they took the money, they had to certify that they would advance equity and inclusion. And we all know what that means. That is critical Marxist theories, and particularly critical race theory. So they states into implementing these nefarious pedagogies, and they've taken over our classrooms. So our mission is to restore parental and local control over education, and that's why we've developed this blueprint. And we are most recently developing a blueprint that mirrors the blueprint to close U.S. Ed for how states can wean themselves off the federal dole, because that's a next step that we have to take. And we actually have the House Speaker in Tennessee has been mulling over this idea, and it's very exciting to see a state leader with that kind of influence taking this issue seriously. Because if states look at the fact that they only receive on average 10% of their education budget from the federal government, and if they look to see if what they're gaining is really reduced by having to comply with all the regulations, it's not in the scheme of things. And they have to begin to think about how they can refuse the funds and implement the programs that are important from the state level and from a state value perspective.
Yeah, and this should have been done a long time ago. There's absolutely no constitutional authority for the feds to be meddling in education, period. In fact, I think it's even a worthwhile discussion. Do we want any government meddling in education? State government, right? Do we really need states involved? But certainly getting the feds out would be a good start. And I'd go back even further. Supreme Court, 1962, 1963. Total misinterpretation of the First Amendment. You can't have prayer in school. You can't have Bible in school. It's just crazy. Terry, we're down to just a few minutes left. You are not giving up the fight. I understand you're going to be hosting another event. What's some advice you have out there for parents who are on the front lines, for parents who are concerned about being targeted? I mean, your case is one of the worst that I've seen. I think partly because in Illinois, the Democrats are collaborating with Antifa, and even law enforcement is afraid to get involved because Democrat politicians might get mad. But what advice do you have for parents out there who want to protect their children, who want to stand up for their children, but are concerned about these kinds of attacks?
Yeah, you have to build up a coalition of parents. And again, Illinois is kind of unique because they have so much control and power and authority over us. You got to get a coalition of parents. Not everyone has to put themselves out there, or they can't, or they're not even in a position to do that. You got to get people to recruit. They got to record. There's so many parents that think like us, but they're scared to get involved. They got to get involved. They got to create, organize. Another thing I learned is that the left is really integrated, all their different groups. Ours seem to be fighting, or they're worried about egos or raising money, instead of coming together to form a more larger voice and strategic threat against the left. And we're not really good at doing that. So I actually just bought a book. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's Fighting Against Radicals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard about that?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
I just
indeed.
got it, and I'm reading it. I think I want to get that author up here to Illinois to help us. I just got it a few days ago, and it's pretty cool. I'm going to be talking to some of the chapters on Saturday when I'm with you guys, and I'm just not going to let them give up. Of course, I'm worried about my job, my family, my health. All that stuff's important, but I just can't sit by and not try. I don't know if I'm going to make a difference, but I know if I don't try, I'm not going to make a difference. So I'm going to keep trying. Are you going to be at CPAC next in a week or two?
No, I'm not going to be able to make that, unfortunately.
I'm going to be there. I can't say everything yet, but I'm one of the main principal parents in, the congressman. I can't say, investigation into weaponization of the FBI. I'm one of their principal parents. I'll be meeting with some guys out there next week, and they're going to get to the bottom of what happened to me. They promised to me. I've been talking for weeks now. And I hope they find out who and why they did this to me and how they got away with it.
Fantastic. I think I know which congressman you're talking about. I spent some time with him over the weekend. Wonderful, wonderful individual, and we're lucky to have him. Sheri, Terry, we are just about out of time. Best website is uspie.org. That's USPIE. Sheri, final thoughts. What do you want to say to the folks?
Well, I just want to say that Terry is a hero. And you didn't mention the fact that he's battling cancer, and through all of this, he stands firm on his position. We need more parents like them. Parents can go to uspie.org, find a chapter in their state, or sign up to start a chapter. We will help you get organized to fight this nonsense.
Sheri, Terry, thank you both so much for all that you do. God bless you. Terry, I'm looking forward to seeing you in just a couple days up in Chicago. All right, guys, take care. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, folks.